Many times the police would call in Christians to interview them, and some of them never came out. They would torture and beat up on those people who were cited to go in. I remember on one occasion we gathered together in one home, and the police broke in. There were several officers with machine guns. They entered the room and they began to yell at us and point the machine guns at various Christians there, and they confiscated our Bibles.
Imagine living in a country where Christianity is not accepted. Because of your faith, you're not allowed to go to college or pursue a professional career. Because of your faith, you're severely beaten and put in prison for years because you gave a Bible to a friend. Imagine living in a country where every time you went to church, your name was given to the secret police. This is the world that Cornel Potra faced every day.
I grew up in the country of Romania, in the city of Oradea, on the west part of the country of Romania. My father was a railway dispatcher, and he also built houses. My father was also involved in the church. He was a deacon, and he was also involved in evangelism, and our house was an open house for the Western Christians, and they would stop by our house because it was so close to the border and leave the Bibles at our house, and then from there we had to distribute them all over the country.
Cornel accepted the Lord as a little boy.
When I was at the age of 14, even though I was taken to church all my life, ever since I was a small child, I realized that I had to have a personal relationship with the Lord, and that I had to surrender my own life to the Lord.
Growing up, Cornel saw the persecution firsthand.
The police came to our house on numerous occasions, even in the middle of the night. I remember one time when they came and woke us all up. We just burst into our house and searched for books and Bibles. And they would do that without any warrant at all.
At school, Cornel faced intense persecution from teachers and classmates.
I remember times when the teachers would lower my grades just because I was a believer. Also, most of the Christian students were told in public before all other students that they would not be able to continue their education.
As Cornel grew up, he kept giving out Bibles, and he kept going to church meetings. But he knew his future was bleak if he stayed in Romania. Many people lost their careers when they accepted Jesus Christ.
Teachers, engineers, doctors, or any other people of influence in society with a higher education degree, the police and the security intelligence officers would find ways to either kick them out of their jobs or demote them professionally.
Cornel was caught several times by the secret police.
There were many instances of many churches that were considered underground churches. These churches did not have a permission by the state or the government to gather together. The police would go in anytime they wanted. The police broke in. There were several officers with machine guns. They entered the room and they began to yell at us and point the machine guns at various Christians there, and they confiscated our Bibles, and they also took our names and addresses and the schools that we were attending or places of work.
Cornel ultimately faced a 10-year jail sentence. Authorities also threatened to send him to a mental hospital. Cornel knew he had to get out of the country. He made a dramatic escape from his homeland, but within minutes of the Austrian border in freedom, Cornel faced certain death.
When those Yugoslavian border guards were looking for me for many hours, a soldier came and put his light on me as I was laying down in a bush, and I believe that the Lord blinded him and he could not see me. It was 5 o'clock in the morning when I was still laying down in that bush. and a soldier was standing by the bush. My watch beeped. It was 5 o'clock in the morning. But the Lord deafened that soldier and he did not hear me. So they left. They gave up. They thought that I already escaped. So I crawled into a cornfield and then out of Yugoslavia into Austria.
He eventually made it to America, and a year and a half after his escape from Romania, the communist regime that had persecuted Cornel and his family fell. Nicolae Ceausescu was executed on Christmas Day in 1989. Now all of Cornel's family live in the United States, but the communist persecution did take a toll on the Potras. Like thousands of other young men, his younger brother died while trying to escape Romania. Cornel is now married and has 2 children. He pastors the Blessed Hope Christian Fellowship in Portsmouth, Virginia, and he's a full-time student at Regent University.
Right now I am studying public policy, and it is my desire to use my education for the glory of God. And the Christians in America should not take for granted all the freedom that God gave us here. We should fight for it. Freedom means fighting for it every day.